So I'm driving, and just about to reach Andrew's place. All of a sudden I see this cat right in the middle of the road, doesn't want to move at all. So here I am, waiting for him to move. I can't force him to move. Oh, now he decides to move, you see? Look at that ginger cat. Just wanted to move. And the roads are horrible, horrible. Look at these roads. All patchy, all kind of like, as soon as I drove away from the highway, the roads are like washboard. Literally, it's insane. It's even worse than Minneapolis. It's crazy, crazy. I don't know how they live like this. I'm just kidding. I don't know, maybe there's no budget or something. And also I just learned from Andrew that like everyone is like sparsely populated. It's not really like there's no main street or anything. Just so it looks like it's gonna be a challenge to find, you know, like a street where there's a lot of walking traffic so I could film the project. So look at all these abandoned houses.
Turn right onto Spangler Street, then turn right onto Rio Street.
Yeah, we're going to Rio de Janeiro. It's just a little over 4 p.m. I was expecting to arrive at around 5, but they gave me discount, you know, as I was driving, you know what I mean? One of those, like, you know, you go a little faster and, you know, like... Anyways, so this is Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. And you?
I'm doing well.
All right, so he's my couch surfing host, and we are in Rio de Janeiro. So this is like Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and you know, it took me like 4 hours from Alabama, but here I am. And what is Mississippi? Jackson? Is this like Jackson 5? You know, like that's dedicated to Michael Jackson's 5, that kind of thing? What is it to you? Were you born here? Can you briefly tell us about yourself?
I grew up in Virginia, and I lived in New York for like 10 years. I lived in upstate New York for like 8, and I lived in the city for a couple.
Okay.
And then I moved down here to go to law school. And
you're a lawyer by nature.
Yeah, I am.
All right.
I'm just getting in touch with my inner lawyer, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very different. I mean, it's number one, it's very homogenous.
What do you mean by that?
That there's not a lot of different kinds of people in Mississippi.
Oh.
I mean, I was reading, I mean, people make fun of Mississippi a lot for being like that.
Yeah. Like, so what, you know, what race or what culture is just one culture there?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of like the white-black thing. I mean, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But that's the only real diversity that people recognize in Mississippi.
Right.
I mean, there was some kind of, I was reading some internet blog that was making fun of Mississippi about, there were some like lesbians, some black lesbians that were riding around Mississippi. They were trying to meet like older, like elderly black lesbians that had been here their whole lives, and they were doing like a documentary on it. And the police stopped them and cited them for being peculiar.
Police what?
Stopped them, and I guess they wrote them a report. It wasn't binding, it wasn't like a punishment or whatever, but they wrote a report for them on them for being peculiar.
I see. And you know what I learned about Alabama?
What?
A black girl could be lesbian and it's okay, it's accepted. A black boy, a guy, could be gay, but not as a couple with another black guy. It's completely unacceptable in Alabama. I have no clue. My friend Lauren told me this, and I was like, "Wow, what's up with that?"
I don't know where she got that from. I don't think that's true. I don't think that there's like that gender thing that she's talking about. But I've never been to Alabama. I mean, I think the culture is pretty similar between Mississippi and Alabama. People say that Mississippi's more conservative, but Alabama was the one that passed the anti-immigration law, which didn't pass in Mississippi. You know, that they had, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. About, like immigrants.
Making it very hard for, so, I don't know. I don't know how they're different.
So, what brought you to Mississippi, to Jackson?
School.
Just studying?
Yeah.
I see. And how long have you been here?
3 years.
3 years. And what's your perception? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I don't like it. I mean, I think the culture here...
Do you want to go to another place?
Well, I'm kind of stuck here for a little bit, but, and the culture, you know, it does kind of grow on you a little bit, but I don't like it. Yeah, I think it's conservative, and it's very, I don't know how to describe it. They're very insular people. I think Mississippi people are very insular. You know that.
Is that because of the belt? They said some kind of like,
not
you know, there is a Bible belt, kosher belt, you know,
Well,
I don't know.
I'll say
different
this,
kind of
that
belts.
like in Mississippi, I think that the people here, a lot of the people here have grown up here and tend to be here for generational reasons.
Okay.
That their parents grew up here, that sort of thing. And the culture here tends to be very different, you know, and somewhat hostile, I think.
Yeah.
So people, you know, who've been in Mississippi a long time tend to be cliquish and just not as friendly towards, you know, outsiders. People from other states, New Yorkers, for instance. So.
Can they sense that I'm from New York?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
A mile away
Well,
or
I mean,
2 miles?
number one, you have an accent, slight accent. Number two, I mean, I don't know. You have the New York. Don't you have a New York T-shirt on? I couch surf New York.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you look like a New Yorker, you know. So I think someone would see you from a mile away.
All right.
But
okay.
whatever. I mean, some people are cool about it. Some people aren't.
Okay.
But there was. I mean, I was just telling this to my brother that when Sesame Street came out.
Yeah.
It was banned in Mississippi.
Really?
It was banned because there was like you know, these images of, I guess, like black kids, white kids, Latino kids all playing in the street together.
Yeah.
You know, and this is like when Mississippi was like still racially segregated almost.
That was like what, in the 80s or something?
In the 50s, and then
50s?
In the 50s there was the court decision, like 19 Brown v. Board of Education, and then they never enforced it until like the 60s and 70s. So up until the 70s, I heard that Mississippi was still segregated. So this TV show came on, you know, depicting like you know, black, white, Latino kids playing in the street together.
A mix, yeah.
And they were like, we can't show this because this is like, it's inappropriate for Mississippi.
Yes.
So I think that Mississippi people feel that, like, you know, we New Yorkers, that we look down on them, you know, and they, you know, that we're very diverse and culturally hip and sophisticated, and you know, they're just a bunch of pig fucking rednecks, you know. So fuck you guys, and you're so much better than we are.
It's an ego thing, right?
Something like that. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, so the differences in Mississippi compared to other states.
Okay.
Right. You said you went to Baptist law school, right, or something? Yeah.
Well, okay. So yeah, I mean, ever since I went there, I've been there for 3 years, and I have like 6 more credits to go. Like, I'm done pretty much. But yeah, I got into like a big argument with the deans, you know, like the people there.
Yeah.
And like, here's a story that you know, that exemplifies it.
Yeah.
You know, I was complaining about them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, God, it would be funny. It would be really funny if God came down and smited, you know, like the deans at MC Law. That would be a riot. You know? Yeah, exactly. And I said, ha ha ha, afterwards.
Right.
So they said that it was an internet threat. They said that I was threatening them, and they served me with the cease and desist letter.
What?
So I was like, listen, I'm sorry. Okay, I honestly didn't mean anything by it. Like, I was kidding. It was a joke. Okay?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to offend you. But you know what? I think that you guys are being jerks. Like, you know that this is a joke, but you're just, you know, being nasty about the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
straight?
or then kind of leaned to the left.
To the left, okay.
And so they called the police. They called the police, and then they called the FBI. Like,
what?
No, I'm serious. I had FBI agents at my apartment, like 3 of them, and they're like, "Listen, you didn't commit a crime, and we know you didn't do anything wrong, but like, they're all going nuts, you know." But it was
They're
like
threatened by you.
yeah, like they were insulted. They were like extremely insulted. So they're like, F him, F this dude. We're gonna put him in jail. You know, like if enough of us complain about it.
Yeah.
You know, and sure enough, I was going through the records. I got.
It's like no freedom of speech here. What is this?
Yeah, exactly.
This is insane. It's Facebook. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly. So the Department of Education made them show me their records, and I looked through it, and I had like emails from professors saying like, what they did is they called when the police came out to the campus.
Yeah.
The students got scared that like they knew that like it wasn't anything wrong with it, but they like called the police out, and the students got scared. You know,
this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like the whole time they knew it was a bunch of bullshit, but they're gonna call the police on me.
So
yeah.
you're saying like there's a lot of prejudice towards anyone who's unique or dressed differly or acts differently, right? Yeah.
The thing about it too is like they feel like they're oppressed because they'll say that like what I was saying about like Sesame Street.
Yeah.
You know, that they're expected to live up to a New York standard when the whole state was racially segregated like 40 years ago. 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So they feel like, well, we're oppressed by this national standard, you know, by you people, by you New Yorkers coming down here telling us
Right.
what to do, blah, blah, blah.
Now, to like also to refresh, Elvis Presley was actually born in Mississippi,
Tupelo, Mississippi, yeah.
which is right on the edge with
Memphis.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
with Memphis.
Right.
So that's why there is the museum of Elvis in Tennessee, not in Mississippi. Right?
I think he did his stuff. He did his work in Memphis. Memphis is a real city. So that's why they probably have the museum there, not Tupelo.
And when I first drove in to Mississippi, there was a huge sign saying, Mississippi, the birthplace of American music. And as you were saying, there's like blues and jazz musicians, right?
They overstated their case. I mean, Nashville is where the Country Music Hall of Fame is in Tennessee. I wouldn't say that Mississippi is the birthplace of American music, but maybe they can make a claim for it. Who knows?
And you said majority of people living in Jackson are African American, but it's segregated like in the suburbs. That's where the whites live.
Yeah.
And that's why the roads are not taken care of here. It's like the money doesn't go into the roads and stuff like that.
Something
right?
like that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I think
there's no money for libraries or any kind of infrastructure.
And people feel too that like, I mean, I read stuff in the newspaper about how like they'll try to like the roads for gated neighborhood complexes will try to be paid for with city funds, and there was a dispute over that and how that was wrong, you know, obviously. But, you know, I mean, where people who have more political power, where those people live, those people are going to demand that their services be better, right?
I see. Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that's...
So what happened with that story? What did they get off your case?
I mean, I still have to graduate from school, you know?
Yeah.
So they, like... Yeah, I mean, they stopped. I mean, they didn't complain anymore. I mean, once they went down to the police, it goes on. I'll tell you more about it later.
Okay.
But this is a lot of how the downtown...
So these are shotgun houses, you said?
Yeah, that's right.
They're very like thin on the inside, like the walls are very like just sheetrock.
Well, if you see it, they're like they're one story, and they're not like spread out. You know, they go straight from the front to the back.
Yeah.
So there's no real wall separating the front door from the back door. So I think they call them shotgun houses because if you shot a shotgun from the front, it would go all the way to the back.
Through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. It is Sunday, September 16th. 2012, 11 o'clock in the morning. I just had breakfast and I'm heading out. Guess where? New Orleans, baby. New Orleans, here I come. So, what was Mississippi like? What was Jackson, Mississippi like? To be honest, I didn't quite expect the results for the Truth Is project to be so fruitful, if you will. You know, according to Andrew, my couchsurfing host, you know, he was kind of like, he's not from here originally. So he was telling me that, like, you know, people are not really, you know, they're a little bit ignorant and they're very afraid of the outsiders or anyone who thinks differently or liberals or anything like that. He's a liberal himself. So, but to be honest, I haven't met anyone that's, you know, that would be like that. So, I don't know. That was like his preconception or something like that. Only one guy, you know, was at the farmer's market, and when he saw a frame over my shoulder and I'm like waltzing into this farmer's market, he was like looking, staring at me. And he was like about 45, 50 years old, you know. So I guess that was a shocking experience for him to see someone with a frame over his shoulder. But anyway, my couchsurfing host in New Orleans who picked me up, like scooped me up, like basically just like last minute, because, you know, it was just like 1 day difference between me heading out to New Orleans. And Lionel is the singer, you know, Lionel Richie, you know. Hello, is it me you're looking for? And I wonder where you are. So I am here in Mississippi. So there's no wondering about it, you know. I'm just heading out. It's gonna take probably about 3-4 hours. So not a really long drive. I'm hoping I'm gonna be there for 3 days. Everyone tells me it's crazy. New Orleans is crazy. It's like Amsterdam in a way, you know what I mean? There is like red light district and whatnot. I'm wearing a red shirt, so you know it matches everything properly. You know, I'm kidding, of course. I kid. Okay, and what else? So that's basically it. He's got another 2 or 3 couch surfers also staying, so he says it's gonna be tight, but you know, nevertheless, I can host you. So Lionel, thank you very much. You know, I truly appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to arriving to New Orleans